Hey there, guys. Welcome back to another edition of Matt and John Make a Podcast. This is episode 66, and this is take two since someone's computer decided to freeze on us after we essentially filmed a full podcast. But we're pretty much are going to talk about the same thing that we were talking about, which these were the topics or these are going to be the topics for this week. Going to be giving you our thoughts so far on on the Mandalorian, which we are only going up through episode 2, since we are taping this on a Wednesday night, and we're going to get into some NFL talk and and we will also be giving some thoughts on the tragic passing of of Alex Trebek, who died on Sunday. I believe that it was of his own battle with pancreatic cancer. So Matt, let's get into some Mandalorian talk here. What were your overall thoughts on the show, and everything involved?
Uh, I thought it was more of a bridge gap type of episode, more um, developing the character and relationship with Mando and the child, or Baby Yoda, as he's most commonly referred to. Um, I mean, not a lot happened in, in this episode, but it was more of a gap in between um, leaving essentially Tatooine and journeying to the Frog Lady. That's all we know her by. The homeland with the eggs, because she knew where more Mandalorians are, or at least one or two. Um, so this was just a journey, again with the ice planet, which where it wasn't Hoth, but I forget the name of the planet. With the spiders and just that whole adventure. So it was just a gap, or bridge gap, or whatever you want to use, just to get to the next episode, or to get to the destination. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't completely crazy about this week's episode. I felt it was kind of boring, to be perfectly honest with you. And which, I mean, like, through I guess that was to be expected, just because as you said, this would be more of a character building episode more than anything, but just wasn't really getting into the actual whole storyline um with that lizard, and it just yeah, just wasn't really
I,
into it this week,
I think it was hard to keep up because you're coming off the first episode of the series coming back, and then the ending of that episode.
Mhm.
So you had that expectation, like, oh, we got presumably, if not 100%, Boba Fett. So you're like, oh, okay, what's going to happen now with Boba Fett? And you didn't have anything, and you kind of just had the journey to get to the planet, and their whole issues with that.
Mhm.
So I guess in a lot of people's eyes, I mean, fall of exploitation, but you're not going to deliver knockout punches week in and week out. I mean, they're allowed to have one off week.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to be upset. Yeah, maybe it wasn't the
No.
greatest episode, but enjoyed parts and for what it was, and I moved on with my life. For people
Yeah.
going crazy about it, uh, more.
especially with the kid eating
Oh yeah,
the
that's like a big
freaking
news
lizard
story. Like
eggs.
I keep seeing this on Twitter. Like holy god! Like so Baby Yoda. It was so the lady frog lady lizard lady whatever had um wanted passage to get to her homeland. She had a big a container of unfertilized eggs to her homeland. They had to get there because that's the last of her people, or the last chance for her species to be survive. And Baby Yoda, being what babies do, don't know right from wrong. Throughout the episode, it was kind of like a funny gag that uh, Baby Yoda would reach in and eat an egg, and that about 3 times or so throughout the episode. And there were people flipping out or angry online that how dare Disney show show eggs being destroyed. And let me find some tweets here. Here we go. This is from bleedingcoal.com. Some screen tweets they took. I don't understand this weird narrative, hostility toward women in Star Wars and mothers in particular. It's frankly creeping me out. Another one, for the record, the frog lady was very adamant about the fact that her eggs were important to her and that it was her last and only chance to have kids, so it's actually closer to fucking up someone's IVF. I said it before in take one, intro, fertilization, whatever, I apologize, which would be incredibly upsetting for a wannabe mom. It's not funny. And then the artistic director, if I remember this, creative art manager, Phil Zostak, whatever. I don't know if the Z's silent. Tweeted, for the record, Chapter 10 of The Mandalorian makes it clear that the frog lady's eggs are unfertilized. Like the chicken eggs many of us enjoy, but obviously chickens aren't sentient beings, and the child eating the eggs is intentionally disturbing for comedic effect. Yeah, and my response is, ladies and gentlemen, it's not real. Like, if even in horror films with real people, if this was like legit, like, it's not real. Like, it's supposed to either make you gross out or have a comedic effect or make you laugh because he keeps doing it. And I was watching it with other people, and we were laughing because it was funny, because it's a Baby Yoda and it's Star Wars and it's not real. Like, it's people get like too butthurt with stuff, like with stuff that's in the media, and by media I mean television shows and other forms of entertainment. Like if Disney came out and says you can't have kids, ha ha ha. Okay, that's one thing, but it's not. It's just a little asterisk in the story of the Mandalorian. And does it get, like, most likely it won't play into the rest of the story. It's just like a little blip in the radar. So I don't know. People are stupid, and if you're upset by that, you must be fun at parties, and I want to hang out with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's those token minority on the internet who are like super vocal, but they're not actually real people. Like I'm convinced of that right there, just because, like, it's, as you said, it's like it's fantasy. It's like not real. I don't see what the big deal is about him eating some eggs.
Yeah, I was watching it with a female, and and not one point that said female go, that's wrong. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've been seeing it, like, everywhere on, like, well, more so on Twitter as of late. Like, when you see, like, you don't see anything until, like, randomly you see it, and then it's all you see. Like, that was me with this story. And I guess since IG, I guess since I, like, searched it, my phone's, like, all giving it to me. But IGN brought this story up. Yeah, and the comments are pretty funny, but, like, oh yeah, here's a good point. Somebody, I just read this. So eating a frog person's eggs is wrong, but hiring bounty hunters to murder people, younglings being slaughtered, a dancer being fed to a rancor, and sentient clones being used as cannon fodder is okay.
I mean, it's a valid point. It's just like, well, into like how many films or TV shows have we seen where babies are getting killed or whatever? It's just like it's a stupid hill to try and like die on, just to cause up some like tension and friction on the internet, just to try and get yourself over, sort of thing. Like, it's so dumb and stupid, but here we are talking about it.
Yeah, and it's somehow people um, just just take it and run with it, where it's, I wish wasn't a story, and I don't have to hate people or hate what we have become. So yeah, there's that. There's also people wanting Gina Carano fired because she liked tweets from people like Ben Shapiro and James Woods talking about, I guess, the election stuff and all that stuff. So, like, another thing of, I like, just because she disagrees with you or whatever, you want them gone. Like, the canceling stuff is way too.
It's annoying as hell, man. Like,
unless she came out and said, like, something like really, really, really unforgivable, like,
she didn't. But she didn't.
Like, I don't know, death the Jews or something like that. Which, I don't know. Just for example, okay. Like, that's acceptable to want her fired, and rightfully so, because that's hate speech. And I guess Disney, family company, family friendly company, or any company in general, that's hate speech, and you should be fired. And I would not feel bad in the slightest. But just liking some tweets or some political views, I don't. Nothing in those tweets were anything like godly offensive.
No, I mean, it'd be one thing if she was as outspoken as like Ruffalo is on his political views, but she didn't say a goddamn thing. Like, it's just
she just it was liked tweets. So people went on to the like tweets and screenshotted it.
Well, into this, it isn't the first time this has happened, because I think it was a few months back, and this could be the same exact case here, but she had a similar situation where they were trying to cancel her based off of something that she said, and basically she just told the internet to kick rocks and find something better to actually do with your lives. And just, man, like, if you go against someone's political beliefs, man, that's essentially is like kicking kicking a family member in the face or something. It's
Yeah.
just
I
it,
don't.
it truly is ridiculous.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it for the Mandalorian. Obviously, we have the third episode in this season this Friday or yesterday as you're watching this or whenever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, so switching gears from Star Wars to the gridiron, we got the NFL this past week, week
Mm-hmm.
9, and we had some interesting games to talk about. First, I guess hometown, one of the bigger games that was aired at
Or
4 o'clock.
as I called it, another heart attack game.
Yes, what most people saw at that time slot across the country was, in fact, the Steelers and the Cowboys.
who by
Uh,
the way who by the way did over 32 million viewers for that game for a Cowboys team who is essentially horrible. And but I mean, when you combine the Steelers and Cowboys, who are two uh, uh, of the bigger NFL brands, and right now it just kind of reminds you just how big that the NFL is when when pretty much a like I mean it's still a like important game, but as far as it as an actual game that actually like means something, not so much. So to get over 32 million is pretty damn insane, don't you think, Matt?
yeah, that's a lot of people to watch that game, and it being um, close and Dallas leading through most of that game probably helped because people want probably tune in to see if the Steelers were
This,
going to lose to
yeah,
Dallas,
which they
um,
didn't.
which
Which
they
they
didn't. The
didn't. Thank
fourth
God.
quarter was pretty much a 10-point uh, deficit in the fourth quarter. The start of the fourth quarter for the Steelers came back in one uh, with 15 fourth quarter points to get a 24-19 victory. One of the big talking points, at least here uh, in Western PA, was the 4th-and-1 call at the end of the game. It was a running play out wide with Connor, gets stuffed on fourth. I say on fourth down. Giving the Cowboys a chance to go down, and with a touchdown, take the lead. Would have took the lead in pretty much the game because it was a 5-point lead at that time. The question I have for you is, would you have gone for it for 4th-and-1, or would you have kicked the field goal to go up 8 points?
Personally, for me, I probably would have just kicked it because then they have to get a touchdown and the 2 point conversion. But at the same time, I'm not going to criticize Tom like so many of these other morons on here, who were saying, "Oh, this is the absolute worst call ever." Blah blah blah. I'm like, well, first of all, two things. Number one, if you had seen the Steelers special teams all day,
Yep.
I do not blame Tomlin. And number two, as I said, they would have with the Dallas Cowboys would have had to score a touchdown and get the 2 point conversion within, I believe it was like 55 seconds or a like minute left, which
It,
I would have felt good about my chances.
I would feel yeah. I would have felt good about the chances too. Uh, but I think given everything's the same with the special teams pretty much getting outworked the whole game,
Yeah,
I would have probably took my chance on 4th-and-1, but not chose that play. Took it out wide to the left, slow developing. I think most of the time you're more than 90%
you
chance if you run it straight ahead most of the time.
well, and two,
Unless
if you recall on the previous play, why Claypool's um why Claypool slid instead of just diving for the first down. I did not know what he was doing there. He did not have a particular great game.
He probably, I guess, I'm assuming if I remember correctly, sliding just to get I guess the
Oh yeah,
clock not to go out of bounds.
right, just so that he can. If you had the first down though, it's a game over though, regardless.
Again,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I don't remember that play in
yeah, like
particular.
he like slid instead of like diving, which I think
Oh.
if like he would have dove, he probably would have gotten that. But still, like the fact that they couldn't get one freaking yard, just kind of reminds me again of our issues on the offensive line, which and as we saw in that, Ben just, I mean, he was getting hit often in this game, and they got punched in the mouth, man. And like Pouncey, like between him and like Big Al, their ages are showing. I think that has been pretty apparent, and I think that's definitely something that this team is going to have to address in the off season, as things go on. But it was a very ugly game. I'm glad that we have the win. That being said, they need to clean a whole bunch of shit up. That's for certain. Hopefully, everything with like Ben and like Vince Williams will be okay, because as like you guys know, they were in close contact with like Vance, who tested positive for COVID, there. So they are not eligible to be coming back until Saturday at the very earliest, if they pass all of their COVID tests, which I'm hoping that they will, because and for Ben more specifically, because man, I do not want Mason Rudolph at quarterback for any reason whatsoever. Just we saw a brief glimpse, even at the end of the second quarter. It was not pretty. And granted, his offensive line isn't great. He doesn't have any running game whatsoever. But man, just it wasn't pretty. So they obviously get the win, but definitely the offensive line needs to be improved, and I'm hoping with the returns of Tyson Alu and also Hilton, that will help out our defense, which has been struggling against the run. They gave up 144 yards this week, after giving up over 250 yards last week against Baltimore. So they definitely need to shore that up. And they have Cincinnati next to decide, hey, we're going to air a small clip and try and troll you guys by posting the freaking video of TJ Hushmanzada wiping his cleats with a terrible towel, which, as like Matt, that always
It's
goes
kiss of
over
death.
well. I mean,
Kiss
like
of death.
just I mean, like ask like Ray Rice, Keith, Keith Pollock, like a Jeremy Hill too. Like he tried tearing it, and of course, like he couldn't do so. It's just uh, I just did not understand that, especially when you were 2-5 on top of that, going up against the 8-0 Steelers. You didn't want to give them any more added motivation, which I feel like that they kind of did, and when they're already pretty beat up. So very interested to see how that game goes on Sunday. But other games, man, what other games really caught your eye from last
Um,
week?
Tom Brady probably playing his worst game ever. 3 interceptions and a 38-3 drumming of the Saints.
Yeah,
Um,
I really could not believe what I was watching that whole game. It's just pretty much Tampa Bay never got off of the bus. That Tampa Bay defense just got annihilated, and Tom Brady, I think through through the second quarter, I think he only had like 16 yards passing or something like that, and they they only ran for about like 9 yards, one of which for was for 7 yards. So it's just they had zero running game. But then again, when you are down four scores like that, you're you are not going to be running it too much. So yeah, so now that was a pretty pivotal loss for Tampa Bay, because now since they dropped both games against the Saints, they obviously will be losing that like head to head tiebreaker should their records be the same. So that was pretty key there. We also saw Baltimore barely scraping by Indianapolis, which you could tell they were feeling the after effects as the Steelers were from that game from the previous week. Um, so they squeaked by 24-10. We also saw the San Francisco 49ers just get absolutely killed by the Green Bay Packers, which I believe that was 34-17. And probably the biggest surprise, Matt, of the week was definitely seeing the Seattle Seahawks just lay an egg. Just that defense, just they did not play well, to put it lightly, as they lose against the Buffalo Bills in a Buffalo 44-34. How surprised were you at that score there?
a little bit. I didn't think it was going to be that bad for Seattle. Honestly, I thought it was going to be competitive, but freaking Seattle's defense, just giving up, except for San Francisco last week, I believe. Yeah, gives up at least 400 yards of on defense, um, and well, only this week only gave up 386, but okay, still. Uh, no, I take that back. That was just passing. 420. Uh, and I think at least twice 500 yards uh, to opposing defenses. And they play the Rams this coming week, which is not another cheapo game. Goff they can throw. They got decent offense there, um, but their defense going into this 466.1 on average yards allowed.
Hard to win that way, man. I
Especially
mean,
on passing, 372 and a half yards on average passing.
it's putting a ton of pressure on Russell Wilson every single week. He essentially has to be perfect or close to it every single week. Like they have to score at least 32 to 35 points. It's really hard to win that way. It's like one thing if you're giving up 18 to 25 a game. I mean, that's okay, but man, when you're giving up like 30, at least 30 at least
Yeah,
30 per game. I mean, how are you
on
supposed to compete with that there?
the Seattle scores at least 30, about on average 34.3, but gives
Yep.
up 30.4.
Yep.
Where the Rams only score on average 24, it's not bad, but only give up 19 on average per game.
Right. They are a very effective running team on top of that, which that has been an issue for the Seahawks as well. So they really need to get that shored up, or man, or they aren't going to be going too far this year. I can tell you that.
Especially come down in the playoffs.
Especially, yeah. Well, when you include teams such as Tampa, New Orleans, Arizona, etc.,
Look,
they're going to be giving them problems.
Look who they. Well, in the next two games, we're going to be interesting. They have the Rams and then Arizona, and Arizona is no slouch either. With
They
their
could
weapons.
very well lose both of those games right there. Like Russ is going to have to play his ass off. Like it's just, I don't think that there's any other way around it. Just because you cannot trust anyone on that defense outside of like Jamal Adams right now
Then taking
as
them
an
to,
all pro safety. You know.
Then after that, their schedule goes easy. They got the Eagles, the Giants, the Jets, and then Washington.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, those are obviously very, very winnable games, but they
Winnable,
need
but
to win. They need to win at least one of two against the
you don't want
Rams.
to go 6 and you don't want to go 6-4.
No, if you go 6-4, I mean, man, like you're not setting yourself up very, very well because
And you get Arizona and the Rams right behind you.
yeah, and those are going to be wars. Or that those will not be easy games because Jalen Ramsey is going to be clamped on DK Metcalf too. So that's going to be a pretty tough assignment there. So I'm very interested to see how this team reacts after dropping a very big game in a Buffalo, because if we're being perfectly honest and everyone is jumping on the Buffalo bandwagon, this was the same team who gave up over 40 points against the Tennessee Titans, and they were just getting run up and down the field on, and who also lost against the Kansas City, who are obviously one of the better teams. But man, like just when Buffalo has played any sort of good teams, they have really struggled. But man, they were moving that ball at freaking will. So definitely they need to get something straightened out. But yeah, it was a very fun week. Tennessee, they finally get off of their other two game losing streak. That was a pretty big one um to stay well, because I think they are now in like first place with the Colts losing against the Ravens, because they are now 5-3 or
Who's this?
6-3. One Indianapolis right now.
They are in second place.
Yep. I figured as much. So yeah, that was a
Game
pretty
behind.
yep. That's a pretty big one there. So yeah, that was pretty much all of the NFL talk that I could think of. I'm trying to think.
Yep.
Like the LA Chargers, man. Like one last thing here is just, man, like just a very snake bitten team, man. Like yeah, they at least this week they did not completely fumble away a giant lead. But man, that has been a theme. They pretty much are the AFC version of the Atlanta Falcons, who almost lost another game where they were ahead by 3 or 4 scores. So definitely you have to wonder with the Chargers if things don't get any better, if they are going to be forced to have to fire Anthony Lynn there, which I think is very possible.
Yeah, well, the Falcons. Yeah, the Falcons were up at halftime, 20-3, and then 27-6 at the end of the third quarter.
Yep, just not good.
And
not,
and it was 34-27.
yeah. So yeah, that was the NFL talk, and now the final thing we're going to talk about this week, guys, is obviously a tragic passing of Alex Trebek, the host of Jeopardy, who since 1984. Matt, any fun any fun
Um,
memories and just your overall thoughts on his passing?
Nothing like it comes. I gotta watch the computer, so like I don't talk blabbing on, and I get a text message. What happened? And I'm like, did I miss something? Oh, my computer is totally froze. Um, Nothing like I just like profound that comes to mind. I just know all I've known for Jeopardy is uh, Alex Trebek, and I mean he's just been a mainstay on that show for seems
Ever?
like for forever pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, uh, he's been on it for 37 years, 1984. Yeah, it just blows your. I mean, a long time to host a game show, and one of like the few game shows that has, because you watch game shows like now and different times today usually don't last long now.
Oh.
Like you have like exceptions. You have, I guess, the two at least here it's always aired back to back. You had
Um.
um, Will Fortune and Jeopardy for like that
And
7.
like a Family Feud too has
Family Feud,
yeah,
Price is Right.
Mhm.
They brought back Let's Make a Deal. That's on there. That's been
and
lasting.
and that has been like touch and go too. So it's like um
Yeah. And then you have like games that have taken um, like a big worldwide storm, if you will. You had Who Wants to Be a Millionaire,
yep,
early late '90s, early 2000s.
huge
Regis,
part
another.
huge part of
He passed away
our
this year too,
childhood.
right?
Yep, he sure
Regis,
did.
it was a big. I just remember in like second grade, like I was hooked on that show.
Yep,
Then
same
you
here.
had Deal or No Deal. I think was I remember that in eighth grade.
Would we
That's
classify would we classify would we classify Survivor as a game show?
uh
Because it's technically a game.
technically
Yeah.
technically reality game show. I
Yeah.
mean, wouldn't Big Brother be a game show?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true as
I
well.
have a
I
hard
mean,
time to say
they're
Big
technically
Brother. I like
my
I don't.
my like mom my mom loves that show. I'm
I
just
still
like
don't know
I'm
how
like
that's a thing.
I
Uh,
I don't know
I'm gonna leave
how you watch it.
Survivor out of that because it's not traditional. Like that's a hybrid. I don't know, but for it technically is. But like Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune and Price is Right of pretty much the mainstays. Well, technically Millionaire still on, but many reiterations.
Right.
But like for me, it's always Price is Right, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, and it's always been Trebek. Always had the parody, obviously the famous parodies on Saturday Night Live with Will Ferrell
Oh,
being.
the the best. I've been watching that all week, man. Just seeing him and Sean Connery just bantering back and forth. Just those are the. I mean, like that is probably those are probably my all time favorite SNL skits. There, it's just
Yeah, like the Trebek impersonation, not even a good impersonation, but it's just that's why it's
uh,
funny. Um,
yeah, man.
but it's sad. I like uh see what happens with the show. Whoever hosts next, I hope it's
Supposedly they or supposedly Alex filmed for like the next month. So
it's just gonna
obviously
be
they
weird. I can start watching that
yeah
now.
yeah
Um,
it's just gonna come off very strange to a lot of people when they flip over to it and like he's no longer there. It just
like it's on
still
there, yeah. There was somebody had I saw betting odds of the new host, and I'm like I was just looking at the list. I was just like, I wish I can. Hang on,
oh
see if I
you
can
have to
find it.
think you have to think that it has to be a pretty big name though because like no one can just take over Jeopardy, from Alex. And two, I think
Yeah.
that's gonna be a very highly coveted position on
I
top
don't
of
know
it.
where this is from a sports book odds. Here's some of the names that are on this list. The favorite is Ken Jennings. Then we got George Stephanopoulos, news reporter. Why? That would be terrible. I would. Oh God, that's the next. And we got Neil deGrasse Tyson at 14-1. Pat Sajak, double duty. Alex Faust. I have no idea who that is. Laura Coates, don't know who that is. Ryan Seacrest, stay away. Tom Bergeron, wouldn't be upset. I love Tom Bergeron. Jimmy Kimmel, he already has a show. Katie Couric, why? LeVar Burton, okay, I don't know. Mina Kimes, I have no idea who that is. Maybe I'm out of time.
She's on ESPN NFL Live.
Okay, no, why?
Yeah.
That's like no. Jane Lynch, she has her own show. Near Patrick Harris.
No. Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, dude.
That's okay.
For the brand. For the brand.
He's got many projects.
Slash sports talk host slash professional wrestler slash
whatever. Then we have Trevor Noah from Comedy Central. God no. Wolf Blitzer. Why? When you want me all people to fall asleep during the show. Drew Carey.
Joe Rogan.
He's on the list. 66-1 with Al Michaels. He's the same odds as Al Michaels. 66-1. Nick Cannon.
Why is
Aaron Andrews.
Please.
Steve Harvey.
Okay.
We got Piers Morgan. Howie Mandel. Chris Harrison. I don't know. Jon Stewart and Drew Carey. I went in reverse order there.
Okay, now Jon Stewart wouldn't be mad about that, and like Rogan, yeah, if like Rogan were to ever host that, which I can never see that. Well, like he's already got a full plate as it is with his life.
Like,
so
I can hear Al Michaels if somebody wins from behind. You believe in miracles?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think we need somebody like
has to be.
I don't know what Alex Trebek was doing. I gotta look here what he was doing before, but like it's usually people who are relatively unknowns.
But he
hosted before. Hang on.
Right, yeah, he hosted a game show before Jeopardy. I forget what exactly, but
there's other stuff. I moved to the States, worked for NBC, game show, Wizard of Odds, High Rollers, Double Dare on CBS is short-lived, not the same as Nickelodeon's. Pillsbury Bake Off, I'll be damned. So he's done stuff, but like, it wasn't like a famous like star coming in. I don't know. It's gonna be whoever hosts. There's gonna be a lot of judgment at first. So I don't know. We'll see. But I gotta start watching. I gotta watch these last things of Jeopardy, and see what happens. But it's sad. 2020 sucks. It was weird because you texted me before I saw it, and you gave me good news before it, and then immediately said, "Oh, Trebek's dead." Like, what the hell, man? You can't give me you can't go from good to bad like that, especially with Trebek. Don't you say it. Don't you? I know you want to say it.
That's what she said. And I think on that note, that is probably a good place for us to end here. So yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in once again. Before we sign off, I would like to thank everyone who tuned in to our Thursday night wrestling live stream, where we talked about everything wrestling. Going to be talked on NXT, Dynamite, pretty much anything involving WWE, even the horrendous Raw, which we say pretty much every single week. Matt is the freaking captain at that because I just flat out refuse to even watch that.
Somebody has
Um,
to. Somebody
yeah,
has to.
yeah, somebody has to. So yeah, as always, guys, follow us on Twitter, like, comment, subscribe, and we shall be payback for our next show, which I think, depending on things, we could be going back to more of a like a normal schedule next week. So as of now, maybe wrestling live stream on a Friday night. We'll
After
see.
SmackDown.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But until then, for like Matt and for John, thank you for tuning in, and we shall see you next week.